Hello and welcome to the Wrestling Headlines Aftershock review for WrestleMania. It's 5 a.m, forgive me. But welcome to the WrestleMania review for Aftershock. And we are coming off of an absolutely solid WrestleMania. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm going to go through the entire show for you, kicking off with Sasha and Bianca Belair. And it's just so much to bloody get through. First of all, my name is Mcmahon, aka Imp. You can follow me on Twitter at the damn Implicat. It's there underneath me. But yes, it's flipping freezing. It's 5 a.m. Let's do this. And a unique WrestleMania, to put it lightly, just a really, really unique WrestleMania. Given the start of it, Vince opening the entire show with the whole roster out on the stage and just giving us this little message that over the past year, WWE fans have been missed and welcome to WrestleMania. As he does his proper Vince voice. And then after that went to a fantastic opening package. It did an absolutely amazing job of kind of, let's pick it up where we left last year. With a harkening back to last year's video, if I might be the same guy doing the same voice. And I remember this time last year, there was the exact same conversation going, is that Matt Berry? Matt Berry, the voice guy, the pig from the Disenchantment. Like, no, we had this conversation last year. It's not Matt Berry. I've no idea who it is, and I'm really annoyed that I can't remember. And I didn't Google it. I left it. So it's somebody doing a Matt Berry type voice. A Matt Berry type voice. It's doing something like that. But yeah, I thought the video package was fantastic. Kind of putting the two, kind of what last year and this current era, putting them both together. I thought it did a fantastic job, and it did another great job just amping you up for the show. And as soon as it ends, like, it's emotionally getting me then more than I thought it would. It's wrestling returning to live fans, and I kind of checked myself. It's like, yeah, it's a big thing, but I didn't expect it to emotionally get me as much as it did. It's like, oh yeah, this is great. It's going to be fantastic when that first guy walks out, and that promo package did an excellent job of getting you amped and excited. And then it hit. Michael Cole stood in front of, stood with Samoa Joe and Byron Saxton, by the way, guys, it's pissing it down with rain. We're gonna have to just stall for half an hour or whatever it was after the video package played, and just immediately into a rain delay. It's really weird entering that state after a promo package did its job of hyping you up, getting you ready, and you're ready to cut to the arena for all of the pyro to go off. Except there's none of that. It's just the lads stood underneath the giant thing that the giant gazebo, as I called it, to protect the ring. And just later on, an amazing image that's immediately become like a meme of moment with Michael Cole and Samoa Joe in their raincoats, just in their plastic bags, just to protect them from the rain. Just such a unique image. Like, after everything, finally get to it, and there's a real life thunderstorm for them to contend with. Like, such a unique way to kick off the show. And it did lead to something interesting. Like, my goodness, the next hour and a half was something special. Just like giving wrestlers a live microphone just to waffle on for a bit. It's like, it was fantastic. Generally, really. And of course, I feel like for me, part of it was then I went to Twitter a lot more actively. I was just talking to people and going through the tweets, seeing people's reactions, all their jokes and gags, things that are coming through, and doing that whilst also listening to the wrestlers cut their promos. It was a fantastic sink and swim amazingness. And Big E's wet mouth. that made me laugh so much. That's what I mean by it was sink or swim. Like, people like Braun Strowman, assumably, backstage, it was an absolutely chaotic thing, as in, we are about to go on air, and during the promo package is when they get the word, we're gonna have to delay until this enormous rainstorm kind of goes past. It's like, my word. Like, what do we do now? After all this time, we're in an utter panic. Just volunteers who wants to cut a promo on their rivalry that they're doing right now. Obviously, guys like Kevin Owens stood forward, Drew McIntyre, MVP with Bobby Lashley. So there was a holding, and Psych Cancel, welcome to the live chat. But yeah, it was really unique circumstance to be in. And then, of course, he cut to the New Day, and oh God, Big E, my man, just made me laugh so much. Kofi going to the new Irish interviewer man to say, "Oh, be careful, he's gonna spit in you when he's with my big wet mouth." I got that big wet mouth. I got that wet mouth is all-time quote of Big E. Big E's got so many, but I got that wet mouth. It's just in such a unique environment to get a quote like that. It's like, oh yeah. And Bianca Belair herself also did a really passionate one as well. Drew McIntyre in his one, I really like. It was like, you can tell there was utter chaos and people smiling at things off of the screen, which is like totally understandable given the situation. And then also Drew McIntyre staying the pro, where the interviewer was just like, "Well, I'm going to talk to you now," and just staying in character, just full on. It's like, "No, I don't want to do the interview. Get on this side, please, because I'm not taking my eyes off Bobby." He's like, "Oh, Drew, you're the man. You're the man." But yeah, it was a really unique circumstance to be in. But then, eventually, for me, it was like 40 minutes past 1, the show finally got underway, and the reports were coming out that, no, they're not going to trim anything. They've just started 40 minutes late. I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. You know, I did feel like Vince coming out was the perfect kind of way to start it. Him going, "Welcome to WrestleMania," was the absolutely perfect way to start WrestleMania, and then he kick into it. Coming back from all of that, the Titus O'Neil Hulk Hogan thing was a bit weird. The fans booed every time Hulk Hogan spoke, and to which, yeah, it's one of those, like, this is the message to WWE. Because this WrestleMania felt like an absolutely massive step forward in terms of, I guess, progression for the company. And, yeah, to have Hulk Hogan open the show, though, the fans responded in kind. As in, he's not really going to fit with this kind of push you're going for. Yeah, he's a massive name of the past. To be fair, he brings a certain demographic of which I am not in. 100% I'm not in. Yeah. Anyway, there's a massive tangent because I want to start with the image that I've got up currently to my side, not filmed. This is the first proper live review I'm doing for this occasion. That way, is it? Yeah. The Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks match. This match was fantastic. Oh, I will say as well, WrestleMania as a whole was fantastic. From start to finish, I really enjoyed it. I guess the low point of WrestleMania would be the tag match, but as a fan of New Japan, that was the exact spot you get that exact match in New Japan, where it is just that, it's a tag team turmoil match. Oh, is it? Okay. It's just, I guess you got to get Yano on the card. It's something like that. It's not something I'm going to massively sink my teeth into, but it's a good kind of calm down match from the big white hot main event. But for me, the entire show was fantastic. As a WrestleMania, as a whole, I really enjoyed it. For me, it's massive props, massive thumbs up. You would recommend, would watch, whatever. Really, really enjoyed the show. But Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, and yes, R.I.P. to Sasha Banks' ribs. The main event was for the SmackDown Women's Championship. History made as for the first time ever, 2 black women main evented WrestleMania. Bianca tearing up before tearing up. She did tear it up, but first she teared up at the reaction as both women struggled to hold back their smiles in the atmosphere of the moment. And good God, Bianca Belair looked great with some fantastic spots. Pressing Sasha all the way from ringside and up the steps into the ring. Jesus. Sasha too got some nice moments, yanking Belair's hair to counter a handspring. There were more of them. This was early on though. The strength of Belair on total display, and not forgetting the smarts of Sasha, again constantly using that hair and having her clever little reversals. And as the match went on, they became more and more inventive, using it to just get a few more stomps in at the ropes by wrapping the hair around the ropes, by using the hair to wrap around the arm of... to torque the arm back into submission as well. Some fantastic stuff, but Bianca Belair came out of this looking like an absolute star. And the feel of the match as well was, wow, look what Banks can do. And it really worked. I thought it was a really, really good match here to get Bianca Belair kind of over into such a capacity. She's not had... again, the build for this match was awful. You never got that one showcase of look what she can do ahead of WrestleMania. he never got that. Bianca Belair never got a showcase. They got a tag team can they get along storyline. But in terms of on the night itself, none of that mattered. Didn't matter one iota. And the match itself, they killed it. It was a fantastic main event, and Bianca's dad almost falling over the barricade in celebration when Bianca won. And the reaction as well to the Bianca hair whip, you could tell there was a load of people in the crowd who, they're not on the Largo loop, which is like one of the touring loops that NXT does. Like they haven't seen Bianca Belair do the hair whip in person, but they've seen it on TV. But it's been in the Thunderdome era, so there hasn't been a live reaction for Bianca Belair's hair whip because she debuted at WrestleMania last year, kind of, but not really, before disappearing. But yeah, so her main roster career has been entirely in the Thunderdome era. So for a live crowd to finally see her, you could tell that some of that reaction was, oh my god, just seeing that for the first time. The reactions to that on the front row were priceless. Just to see that again, it's really nice, just sharing that kind of experience of watching somebody see it for the first time and get that reaction. It was just like, oh my god. And you saw the scar on Sasha Banks as well when they showed her at ringside. It's like, oh dear. They just got, that whip on Sasha. Painful. But it was also perfect because Sasha had been using her hair as a weapon the entire match, using it against Bianca Belair as if it was a weakness. Then it becomes the thing that just it just takes her out. It's like, it was a fantastic main event. And it was at the end of as a whole of a huge WrestleMania. My only grievance is they cut away from Bianca Belair's celebration so late, but so quickly into her thing. But if I'm right, I thought I saw news that in Florida or in Tampa they had some kind of agreement that they'd be done by midnight. I don't know if a COVID thing or whatever, and they cut it close. Well, they didn't really cut it close. They were, what was it, 22? I guess 11:40. So get out of there type of stuff. Who knows? I thought I'd seen some news on that which might explain why they cut away so quickly. But again, solid, absolutely solid main event. Bloody killed it. Again, my complaint was that I did not get to soak in the win and atmosphere as much as I wanted to because of how much I enjoyed it. Is that you've left me wanting a little bit more. You can use your social media stuff to give me that. I'll probably watch it because that soaked it up. It's just nice to have really enjoyed a WrestleMania. I think what helps as well, I am seeing it in this the big stage arena. I think I'm a really big fan of WrestleMania staying 2 nights. I think I want it. As in, if they're going to jam pack it with these matches, I feel like them doing it for 2 nights is so much more preferable than the monster 8-hour epic or whatever it is. That's something ridiculous. I think the WrestleMania with Becky Lynch, the main event, I think that was 6 hours plus a 2-hour pre-show. Whoa. Jesus. This, I'm watching the main event, I've still got energy, the crowd is still white hot for it. They've still got all the energy in the world to give to it. Yes, this was the first wrestling show back, but it's just really nice to see that at WrestleMania again. And the match before it as well, which I'll get to next, because I want to talk about that before going, and then I'll go to Drew Bobby and go through the card in order. But my God, it was the crowd were able to stay hot for the entire show, and I really feel like that really lended to Bianca Belair's kind of final run as well, as she then turns the hair that Sasha Banks had been using against her for the entire match becomes the most devastating weapon to then land into the TKO. All the applause in the world. They made a star of Bianca Belair at this show. And I feel like they obviously did that with more than one person. So we'll go through the card. All the applause in the world. Fantastic main event. And I am going to have to move on to the next match. Just positively gushing over the main event. Of course, with the history made as well. Me as a wrestling fan, I'm more... I get obviously automatically drawn to how great the match was. But yeah, not forgetting the history made with 2 black women main eventing WrestleMania as well. Then it was really nice seeing the crowd again. Yeah, I feel like that was the first hour of the show was just my pure reaction of it's like we're back home. It's like, Murray, what are you doing awake in the chat? Oh dear. Yeah, why do we... It's the British curse of... It's now 5:15 in the morning as I'm talking about this, and I've got to get through my notes before my eyes get too blurry to read them. It's the curse. I'll be dead tomorrow. But my Twitch stream tomorrow will be interesting. So yes. Anyway, so I want to talk about Bad Bunny. And as in, I'm looking at what I've got to talk about, and for me, in terms of like WWE as well, my tone for the entire review is going to be positive. And yes, I'm the AEW New Japan shill. Oh, he loved a WrestleMania. Yeah, start to finish. Does it hurt my internet street cred? Does it hurt it to say I genuinely enjoyed this WrestleMania all the way through? I don't even know what my favourite match of the night was, and I'm saying that without any sense of irony. It's not because they were all bad. But no, that genuinely. And I've just found out this sofa squeaks when I bounce on it. That's probably picked up by the microphone. But yeah, it was like from start to finish. Enjoyed it. I need to get into the matches instead of just going over it. But yeah, I do agree. Like easily, as I was saying earlier, the kind of low point of the show was the tag match. But then the tag match was also in the exact spot New Japan used it for, where you have your white hot opener. Then you have your tag nonsense. It's a turmoily taggy thing. You don't really care. You kind of get through it, and then you can start to build up the card again. And that's exactly what they did here. White hot matchup, and then their tag thing. But then you build up the card afterwards. It's just if I love my Wrestle Kingdom, then I've got to give the same applause here. It does a card order. Murray's got work in 7 hours. You madman. You madman. I've got to... Well, I was thinking about it. I'm live with my FIFA World Cup stream with my brother on Twitch at 3. So that's in like 10 hours. In under 10 hours. I've got to be live on Twitch in a competitive FIFA ring. Anyway, tangent. I didn't mean to plug that. So The Miz... Talk about Bad Bunny. I want to talk about Bad Bunny because he was absolutely fantastic. And I'll get to the kind of intro stuff as well. And an arena of bouncing bunnies in one of the more unique entrances for Miz and Morrison. And this was one of the absolute best celebrity arcs of WrestleMania. And I was talking about the entrances. Jesus Christ, Bad Bunny's entrance. Like Damian Priest, he was like soaking in his own music and really enjoying it. It's like he's just digging his own music so much, his own entrance, and yeah, and then firing his name into the lights in the sky. Which also brings up my other point as well. The augmented reality, the virtual reality graphics, I thought they were pretty good for this show. Maybe because, like, for me, one of the worst ones is Roman Reigns, which is like, oh, it's such a shame. I mean, it's not as bad since they put the t-shirt on him. It was worse before. When they debuted it, it was worse. But I liked a lot of the AR in this show. Personal favourite being, yes, I've got them ranked. Personal favourite being the pirate ship thing. Not the pirate ship. When it was on the gazebo. What do they call that gazebo? That structure above the ring. And they put the pirate ship kind of mast on there with the flag draping. I thought that augmented reality looked really good. And then like AJ's, when it said phenomenal, that was also kind of like bent into that structure as well. I feel like they did augmented reality, but it was kind of warped to fit the arena. It wasn't just obnoxiously there covering off the screen. Because that was my complaint from when they first did it. With the like Asuka versus Charlotte Flair match, where they had the augmented reality, but they got this awesome staging, then the AR just like, covered it all up. It's like, what is this crap? But on this show, it fit the staging, and for me, that's like an absolutely perfect way to use it. I was a big fan of it in this show. Like you can see the massive improvement, or they got someone new in just to kind of help them with it, and you saw the massive improvement. Just seeing Becky, Ronda and Flair should be ashamed of their match. Sasha did it better. The main event of this show was so incredibly solid. And I think, again, what really helps was the crowd not being dead. I think that really, really helped. So, yeah. But yeah, Bad Bunny's entrance. Speaking of entrances, Bad Bunny's entrance was fantastic. Just driving in the truck as it's going firing up on the sides. And I'm watching it going, God, he's on top of that on the top of that truck, like Neo in Matrix Reloaded as it goes down the highway. He's got his the black thick coat as well. I got massive Matrix vibes of the entire thing. But I thought the Bad Bunny himself, when he got to the ring, it's just the wrestling fan in him was just jumping off the screen, totally impressing. Buddy getting a great show in before becoming like the source of the beatdown for that Miz and Morrison heat and eventual Damian Priest hot tag. Big old pops for absolutely everything Bunny did. Like a high-pitched scream for every single punch he took and gave. It was that so many were just in on this match, and it's just including all the smaller details that my nerdy Twitter feed like popped for. It's like, oh, he's holding the tag rope. Oh, my friend Bunny, he's holding the tag rope. And like, Jesus, did he win over every single person with a sublime performance. Sold like a boss, lucha'd hard, and Bunny Destroyer as well. I was just trying to type Bunny Destroyer by the time I'd finished typing it, and Booker T's going, Bunny Destroyer, Bunny Destroyer. It's just, oh, yes, I'm so happy we're on the same wavelength for that. Nearly said a Mattism there, where I put two sayings together, and I do it more often than I probably should have, and that for me is when people are on the same page length. Not a saying. You're either on the same page or the same wavelength, but I put them together to be on the same page length. So now when I say it, I've at least explained it here, so people know. But yeah, I thought Bad Bunny was fantastic. I thought he, again, it was selling for it as well, and a massive shout out to Miz and Morrison as well, just wrestling a blinder on the other side. It was, yeah, they were like completely selfless. Bad Bunny came across as a star, and just you could hit all the positive reactions, and yeah, the likelihood is this was like a WrestleMania Royal Rumble to WrestleMania arc, especially because it's a big celebrity, and like he's an incredibly successful artist, and to the WWE as well, absolutely massive get because he's a massively successful current day artist. This isn't like a star from the past. It's like, oh, I got a bit of time now. It's like even Mike Tyson was no longer in his prime when he showed up on WWE, did that white hot angle with Stone Cold. Like no, like. Here, Bad Bunny's in his musical prime. He is, I mean, assuming he's entered his prime for all we know, he's going to rise. He's young. He's still got time for it. But yeah, he is an absolutely massive get. And you can see he's a huge wrestling fan because he just screamed it. Just watching him. So it's all the little details as well. How hyped he was to do the lucha stuff. And the Canadian Destroyer at ringside. Like, a non-wrestling fan doesn't even consider doing a Canadian Destroyer at ringside. But no, Bad Bunny. Yeah. I thought it was fantastic, and the crowd went absolutely mental for Bad Bunny. Also, there's little things as well, like he and Damian Priest with their moves in tandem, the stereo Falcon arrows, and the whatever that is. In my day, when I was a kid, it was you clapped your friend across the ears and you just tango to them like that. I hated that. I absolutely hated that. As a kid, I had delicate ears whenever somebody did I've just been tangoed. Don't even know if that made a thing in America. I'm doing this on an American thing for an American website. I'm referencing, you've just been tangoed from an advert that aired about 20 years ago. But yeah, let's get back to the topic. Bad Bunny. It was sublime. A sublime performance, and everybody else in that ring helped. That was the picture they were painting of like a sublime performance by Bad Bunny. That was the story they were telling. That is the picture being painted, and every single person attributed to that perfectly. It's just one of the absolute best, I guess, celebrity matches at WrestleMania. Like, in terms of the attention it brought, in terms of the hype, in terms of like the quality of the arc as well, in terms of the actual match, it's got to be up there. As in, I'm immediately in my head trying to think what were the best WrestleMania celebrity matches, and like Floyd Mayweather. This was the best one probably. Because celebrity matches are quite often spectacle over substance, and sometimes it doesn't need the substance because the spectacle works enough. But Bad Bunny absolutely brought it. Everyone else helped make him look like a star in that ring. It was, and he never thought, "Oh, is Bad Bunny taking all the spotlight?" No, it worked within the characters of the match. Like it was really well put together. All the plaudits in the world for that. But yes, one of the praises of Bad Bunny. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. Cannot praise that man enough for that one. And again, everybody else in that match as well. I thought it was fantastic. Right, a quick swig in this new setup. I've got my water so far away. I'm just happy to not be in front of a garage door. It's quite nice. I've got a lovely painting of trees behind me. Aren't they pretty? Say yes to the pretty trees. Anyway, I'm now going to go through this match. Also, yes, RIP to John Morrison taking a Buddy Destroyer at ringside. He was not coming back after that. I did really like how after that, you're like, oh, this is now where we go white hot for the babyfaces to win. But then Miz countered Damian Priest and hit the skull crushing finale for Bad Bunny to jump in and save. I thought that was a really good kind of ending fake out to then run into the finish afterwards. And Bad Bunny getting the win, obviously. So anyway, we're now going to go through the other 5 matches on the show. And it's going to be one of those reviews I feel like where I'm blasting through it relatively quickly. Just because I've got a solid amount to say. Not got a lot to criticise. And it's all going to be positive. That's the way it should. Sometimes when it's a negative thing, you run on tangents to try and explain yourself. Nah, liked it. Move on. There we go. So, after the rain delay, after that special 30-minute period, I don't know, are they going to keep that 30-minute period? Because there was some gold. Again, Big E's wet mouth. I don't want Big E's wet mouth to not exist on the network, because that made me laugh. Also, again, English, still got the network. But yeah, I want that to still exist. But like with New Japan Pro Wrestling, where they cut out the earthquake at their show, which is like part of the course. Like, it's nothing incredibly new that. But for something like this, it's like, it doesn't fit with the show. I think they might prefer to go straight to the action rather than this awkward fitting for time 30 minutes thing. But there was some gold, and it was unique. And the amount of applause it got from fans of, well, look what happens when you give your wrestlers the chance to just talk, to just be themselves, and say, go, here's a microphone, you know your points, go. Fill some time. It's like, yeah, it seemed to really work. It's almost as if that would be a perfectly fine thing to do on the regular. Again, if you still want to script them in the ring, you don't have to like release all of the reigns, all of the holds, like it is WWE. But the backstage stuff, backstage interviews, maybe don't have to be so scripted. I think this proved it. Like, all the characters felt so way more genuine because of these. So yeah, just let them do them. Just let them do them. But yeah. Also, yeah, before we get to it, Samoa Joe in a raincoat. Looked hilarious. Yes, that cat. Yes, he did. He looked hilarious in the raincoat. It was the two of them together, because Michael Cole he's just a dad at this point. He's a wrestling industry. He is a dad. Nothing he does just can be cool. Because he's reached that kind of dad level. But Samoa Joe, he's still in that wrestler era. Like he carries himself like a wrestler. He looks like a wrestler. Talks like a wrestler. He's still in that point. And him in a raincoat was quite funny. It's just apologies to Samoa Joe. Don't beat me up, but you were quite funny in a raincoat. Whilst Michael Cole, everything he does is uncool. It's fine. It's not the same. Anyway, let's get to the action. We kicked off with the WWE Championship of Bobby Lashley, the awesome champion of the Hurt Business, versus Drew McIntyre. And if Okada and Suzuki can do it, so can Vince's big beefy men, wrestling in the rain as the fans filtered back in. And they still delivered that big return to WrestleMania opening. Because, of course, like they played the whole hype package video. You're ready in that moment to then go to the big pyro. And then Drew McIntyre's music hits. He gets a huge ovation from the crowd. But that didn't happen. Instead, you come from the big, awesome video package, and it's Michael Cole saying it's raining a lot. It's like, oh, that's not what we wanted. But you've still got that hype in you. Don't worry, you've got 40 minutes for it to die down first. But then you got the 5-minute warning. Oh, we're going to come back. Bianca Belair cuts a promo. She did well in that. And we come back to the arena. We know what's happening. Drew McIntyre's music hits. The thing that made me laugh, before I get into this, I was like, I'm going to quickly go through these. I'm just suddenly remembering bits I didn't make notes on for some reason. I don't know why I didn't make a note on Pete Rosenberg because they went from the pre-show of a panel people of Kayla and Peter Rosenberg talking just a little bit about the final stuff before cutting to the promo package for Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. When, as the video starts playing, you can still hear them. At first I was just like, oh, it's just Kayla's mic. It's like, it's a one mic issue. It's hearing her do a light giggle. And it's like, it's a minor production issue. There's been so much chaos, that's fine. Then it went golden. Then this album went platinum. As the video package still continues to play. And Pete Rosenberg just over the top of the V patch, just hear him just go, "Oh, I just want to pee so bad. I just want to go to the toilet so badly." It's like, oh no, Peter, Pete, over the top of the opening video package at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship is Pete Rosenberg exclaiming how badly he wants to go to the toilet, and that's there now. That now, then, forever. Pete Rosenberg exclaiming how much he needs to go to the toilet over the top of your opening video package. Got a good laugh out of me. Just, yeah, I was happy with just the Kayla giggles. That made me laugh enough. But Pete, again, that album went platinum with that. Fantastic. But the crowd in this match were white hot for it. It was awesome to see Drew finally getting his moment, like his big WrestleMania championship match in the weather of his homeland and all. And like such a perfect like kind of match to open the show with after last year. And he, in the match itself, putting all the stops, going to the skies. 2 servings of hefty lads clobbering the lights out of each other. And yeah, just like seeing like the crowd jumping to their feet at the mere mention of seeing a finisher as well. Just when I was watching that in this opening match, like, I really am finding this more emotional than I thought. Just it's like a community reunited at last, seeing this show like this. And oh yeah, just I thought this match was great. Yeah, Mighty Bobby powered Drew up high whenever the Scottish Steak tried to run in with a follow up. It wasn't going to be as easy as last year to land a Claymore for him, as that evidently went as the match went on. Pulling out the Kimura lock to wear down the big lad as well. He brought that something new, nicked from Rocky Baby. In a total shock though, Bobby Lashley retained, countering the Claymore again and again with the help of MVP as the match went on, and locking in the Hurt Lock for the win. Like, honestly, like, a shock I loved. Like, the match was hot. The match was great. 2 big lads, what's it going to take? And again, like 3 future shocks in a row wasn't enough to pin Bobby. And you're like, but this is just setting up for the Claymore. But he never hit the Claymore. Something happened every single time for Drew to miss, or to Bobby to just escape, or just a slight distraction timing, or something. And like, yes, I guess, like no one had Bobby winning this. But the fact he did, I'm really behind it, because again, he'd been so solid with the whole Hurt Business thing, and I feel like this kind of reinforces him breaking up with Hurt Business to help focus on his championship. Because my assumption was, right, this is done now, you got your title match at WrestleMania, then it'll be gone. And yeah, I feel like this kind of reaffirms Bobby Lashley's side. Like, no, I did it to refocus. At least you can tell it this way. He did it to refocus, and look, it worked. He was right, he was struggling, then he got rid of them. Now look at him. So you can use that. I mean, that's hindsight booking. Something of which I've said WWE. I've praised WWE on that before, where they book utter trash, something they completely destroy something, but in the end they find a way. They look at all the pieces and they hindsight book their way back into normality before then doing it again. As over the course of time it wears you down a bit. But in that period, you're like, but they tied a bow on it nicely in the end. Yeah, I feel like Bobby Lashley Drew McIntyre was a really hot opener with a completely unexpected result that did lead into something positive in terms of like the Bobby Lashley. It's going to continue this feud. We're going to be. I massively assume we get this match again at the next pay-per-view. It's pure WWE style of it lasting at least 3 pay-per-views in a row. But yeah. And it felt like Drew McIntyre was going to win. Like, he's just waiting for that moment. And then Bobby Lashley counters him again. And this time gets in the Hurt Lock and just drains him completely. Yeah, I was a massive fan of this match. It was big muscly men doing big muscly things. It really worked. Like, to the next one. Tag Team Turmoil time. This is one, so again, I've said earlier, this was the kind of low point of the show. We had the White Hot Championship opener. Again, after all the weather turmoil, we suddenly then come to get through the championship match. And then this was kind of like, the show's continuing. Okay, cool. My only worry was whilst I was starting to write my notes for this one, I was like, oh no, it's 2 something now, isn't it? Oh, my eyes, no, don't get blurry now. It's just a slight worrisome moment. But this was essentially a gauntlet. We have 2 teams in at a time, and then one gets eliminated, down comes the next one. I don't think we've ever had this kind of match at WrestleMania. Normally it's everybody's there, do a thing. But this was like one after the other. It has some organisation to it. I feel like that's what reminded me of New Japan, where in this spot they've had matches like this, like turmoils like this, or gauntlets before, and this is kind of the slot it would go into. But yeah, the number one contender for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, Lana and Naomi, also getting a massive pop. Everybody got great pops because of the occasion. There were definitely some pipes in to the pops, but I feel like it's like over the course of the show they were learning how to do it, because they've not piped in with a live crowd to this size yet. And the crowd were popping for a lot of it, but they weren't always giving the desired reaction. Case in point, Hulk Hogan got booed every time he spoke. That's not what they wanted, really. And you could tell when they were piping in the reactions to his words, and you could hear the boos underneath. But with a live crowd, you get mixed reactions anyway. So you just need to get the balance right. And I felt like over the course of the show, they were trying to figure that out. But still, Lana and Naomi entered first. Great reaction. Naomi's entrance at WrestleMania will always be fantastic. They were met by Carmella and Billie Kay. I love Billie Kay. She makes me laugh so much. But this match, it was, because of the way it played, like the place it was on the card as well, it was a match that happened. And I didn't really get more into it than that. And like some tag team fun following the hot title opener, that seemed to be what it looked like on paper, and that's what they delivered. It's like, but I wasn't. It didn't deliver less than I was expecting. So in terms of like a negative review or anything, it's like, but this was the exact match I was expecting. The exact match I was expecting. But yeah, Billie Kay, she just made me laugh, and I think I enjoyed this match most when I was just laughing at Billie Kay. And like, oh yeah, like Lana and Naomi jumped in with their flash and style, and they were looking great. Doing so, the WrestleMania gear sparkling fantastically as well. It was just during the match. I didn't realise during the entrance. It was like during the match where I was like, oh god, no, that's awesome gear. But Carmella's cheeky Betty Smart sneaked an advantage as Kay rolled up Naomi, and Carmella snuck in some helpful leverage and eliminated were Lana and Naomi. Oh, you're not doing the angle with Shayna and Nia Jax like you would do for ages? Okay, I mean, I don't personally need it, but it's that's just not happening. Okay, cool. After that, the Riot Squad out next, and this time the referee spotted Carmella. The cheeky cheeks weren't happening this time, and Billie soon found herself draped over knees as another wrestler sentoned on top of her. Carmella with a round of kicks before the next team came on out. And came on down as well. Oh, I've just seen something in the comments. It's women's wrestling, so it sticks. It's about the main event. Somebody posted on Twitter the picture of the streak continues with Sasha Banks, where it says 0-6. She's lost every single match at WrestleMania. The streak continues. It's just because everybody did not everybody, but the wrestlers did the photo shoots dressed up as The Undertaker for his retirement. So you got the Sasha Banks Undertaker picture ready. She's doing the bows, and it says 0-6. The streak continues. That generally made me laugh. So yes, Sasha Banks, she's allowed to be champion. She just can't walk out of WrestleMania as it. It's just not a thing. Not a thing. Anyway, to then take on the Riot Squad came down Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. It's like, again, it got a laugh out of me, but also one of those like, but I also feel sorry for you because it's like, it's like I swear I heard an oh no come out of Mandy as it happened. But the rain playing its effects again as Mandy slipped on the ramp. It's like, right in her arse. Just on the ramp. It made me, it's one of those laughs where like, I also feel sorry for you, but it's not as embarrassing as you would think it would be, just because the whole night's been so chaotic anyway. That it just kind of, for me, it fit into that rather than, isn't this embarrassing? It's like, no, it's just another chaotic thing. I mean, not her fault. There's rain everywhere. It was just who's next. And they were saying during the opening matches how slippery the ropes were and how big a risk it was. I did like that on commentary. I want to say it was Graves and Cole both saying, it's like, oh no, it's really dangerous to go up onto top ropes because of how slippery it is because of the rain. Like, they incorporated into the commentary of how the match was going. But yeah. Poor Mandy, right on a bum. But back and forth as the Muscle Friends made their mark. There's only sexy Muscle Friends if Asuka's there. It looking like Rose and Brooke were set for the win until Liv reversed and Mandy rolled up into one of her own. And that eliminated Rose and Brooke. For Natalya and Tamina, our big bad odds for our knackered goodies to climb. But the Sent on These combo wasn't enough this time. In time, the big bad's fighting back and Natalya ordering Tamina to Superfly Splash on down for the win. Natalya and Tamina advance to the champions tomorrow. Good for them, I guess. it was the one team I wasn't expecting to win. So the question is that good or not? I want to say not. I don't really know. I don't have an opinion, I think. So that means not. So I'm going with it. I'm not like, oh, they won. I'm like, oh, they won, cool. Cool, they won. Right, next. It's just like one of those. I'm like, yeah, good for them. I mean, I've not got massive negative feelings too, but I've not got many positive either. Yeah. Again, low point of the show, but it was after a white hot main event and before a fantastic match. And I feel like every match after this delivered in its own unique way. Something this WrestleMania had was variety as well. I feel like that's something like a big show like this really needs. Like, the matches all shone for their different reasons. It's like, yeah, just absolutely massive stuff. So, Seth Rollins versus Cesaro was up next. Uppercut off the bell. And boy, were we in for a treat. Entertaining as hell from bell to bell. And another fantastic match. Seth Rollins putting everything in there to make Cesaro look like an absolute beast to really get him over. Also, Seth Rollins with his new theme tune as well. Personally, yeah, I like it. I'm fine with it. It's not the best theme I've ever heard, but because it fits his character well, I don't mind. Because that's my main thing. And that was definitely something I saw Jim Johnson talking about, was if you've got a theme that fits the character and it's all about them, then it works perfectly. Rather than generic rock music. That's why I didn't like Keith Lee's original one, compared to his current one where it's him singing again. Like, the rock music is not part of Keith Lee's character in the slightest. But yeah, Seth Rollins one here. Yeah, fits his character. It's the two kind of merged together. Like, it was a bit too churchy beforehand, and then it's got rid of all the church, went straight back to Burn It Down. So why not put the two together in a rocky church? Kind of awesome mashup. But yeah, the match itself was the story of Rollins, who's had all the success against Cesaro, who's always had the potential, but never got to those levels of accomplishments. Some kind of weird cross-wiring in the kind of telling of it, where it was like, oh, but the fans seem to be clicking with him now. Like, the fans were always clicking with Cesaro. That was never the issue. But you needed to, in storyline, come up with a reason for why he's not met a certain level and why he's getting this mass support now. Because the explanation doesn't work in kayfabe, so they have to come up with something. Yeah, this match woke the crowd right back up after they had a wee rest during the previous tag team match. And like Seth weakening the Swiss man's arms, but Cesaro kept on swinging. And thank you, Side Council, for the exact number, because I didn't actually get that. I got over 20. 23 swings. Bloody hell, Cesaro. 23 swings, plus when he did 9 as well. So he did 9 earlier in the match, and then he sold his arm being damaged. Then they had a fantastic flurry as well, and that then led into. I loved the back and forth, which then led into Seth Rollins hitting the pedigree. It was just like a run of offense. That was fantastic. Also, a lovely corkscrew splash. Wasn't that nice? Wasn't that lovely, Seth? A lovely corkscrew splash. How delightful. As in, that was my reaction. As in, I was like, okay, here he comes. He's going to do the frog splash, and he does a great frog splash. And then, a corkscrew. Lovely. I generally really, really. I'm trying to think. I didn't want to repeat the way that I've talked about a different match earlier, but I did really enjoy this match. Again, as I said at the start, entertaining as hell from bell to bell, and cannot recommend this match enough. It was fantastic. My Twitter feed was melting over it. Absolutely loved it. In the end, countering a stomp into his patented awesome uppercut. Yes. A great reaction from the crowd for that one. Into an even better reaction as he hit his beautiful airplane spin. Look, Maher, no hands. As he keeps going round in circles and circles and circles. That was fantastic. Yeah, no hands. A fantastic little bit there. Eventually hitting the neutralizer, I forgot it for a second. Eventually hitting the neutralizer and getting the pin. But, yeah, really solid match. You can see Seth Rollins putting his all into this. Cesaro came off like a star. Getting to see him like this as well. Someone on Twitter put it over as like he's always been like this wrestler's wrestler. And just to see him kind of get that shine at WrestleMania as well, was like, oh, that was great. And that's a good thing actually, going off from WrestleMania. Yeah, does Cesaro, does he continue climbing that card? Does he go for Roman next? Because he can kind of use a similar Daniel Bryan kind of way. The reason Daniel Bryan went to it, you can use that. You don't have to jump that far. It can still work. Still that. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Exciting times. Genuinely, really, really, really strong match. Cannot recommend Seth Rollins Cesaro enough. It was fantastic from start to finish. Really, really good. They just set the tone with that uppercut right off the get-go, and it never let down. It kept going kept revving for the entire drive. To keep it in the same metaphor. Anyway, New Day versus AJ Styles and Omos. This one caught me by surprise. So the Raw Tag Team Championships were on the line. First off, a lovely touch with Big E shouting his friends out from out front on the stage. Because Dory does it in Gorilla, but for him to actually come out on the stage and do it, I thought that was great. Also, Omos, during his entrance, just incredibly wearing even more formal clothes than normal for his debut match. Because I was thinking, I wonder what gear he's going to have. How's he going to kind of dress up for this? I was like, oh no, he's dressed even more formally. How has he done this? Of course, he then took off his awesome big coat. Oh, also, the only wrestler smart enough to wear a coat when it's cold and raining. Genius, Omos. Genius. To be fair, can Drew McIntyre even keep on a coat when he's that oily? Is it even possible? Those flames aren't going to glisten without that baby oil. It doesn't mean you can't wear a coat. Because it'll come off in the baby oil. The crux. Anyway, I'm trying to think what was my favourite moment of this match, but the crowd shifted what it was. I would say, like, in the first half, easily Xavier Woods shouting. It was easily my favourite part of the match. Just shouting, "This is why you're not a tag team wrestler, AJ. We are effectively cutting the ring in half. This is why you're not a tag team wrestler." It's just as they were doing it, like, doing the commentators' jobs for them. Xavier was making me laugh so much during that opening bit. And just a massive pop as well after AJ found the way to get to Omos. Like, running wild as purely human panic at effortless might. Rawr. Like, the heel babyface kind of run for this one shifted as the crowd was so much behind AJ Styles and Omos. And it's one of those reactions where it's just like, you can't make them heel now. They had this absolutely devastating run from Omos. They were white hot for him. And the story of it elsewhere was the New Day. They were the ones, again, as Xavier Woods put it, effectively cutting the ring in half, which is a very heel thing to do, but they were using it to explain how they're a great tag team. They were doing great tag team stuff. And they were effectively cutting the ring in half and kept doing that. And they were like, go on, I dare you to try and make the tag to Omos. I dare you. Like, proving the champion's point. It's like that as they dare him to try and make the tag to the rather large gentleman over there. But he found a way. And it's like they were teasing AJ Styles making the tag, and the crowd were white hot for it. And eventually when he did, they went crazy. They were chanting for Omos. And as it went ahead, he looked fantastic. And in the end, phenomenal forearm off the shoulders of a giant. Omos with the two-handed slam as we crown new tag team champions in destructive fashion. Like, the whole thing was New Day toying with AJ that you're not a tag team wrestler for a reason. Then the second Omos tagged in, just fear in the eyes of both of them, and the guy just launched them about, charged at them, looked like an absolute beast, booked him to his absolute strengths. Like, whoever did this match, just fantastic. He looked awesome. And you can tell he's got a limited moveset, but they nailed it. So, like, where's the complaint? If they used well, because that's my critique of WWE is trying to fit so many into the same peg. So many pegs into the same hole. But if you play everybody to their strengths, then something like this you'll get it with Omos. Yeah, great, really, really good. And the crowd loved him too. They did a fantastic job putting him over. Omos felt like a star, felt like a huge star. The star of a large gentleman. And yes, 0 damage to Omos as he stands there tall without a sweat. Without a sweat. Speaking of sweat, the opposite of that, Shane McMahon. And this is our final match to talk about. Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman in a steel cage. The most literal, stupid story WWE have ever done for WrestleMania. Shane McMahon, Braun Strowman, centered around being stupid. How stupid is that? Incredibly stupid. It's all about being stupid. You can't say this feud wasn't stupid. It's literally about being stupid. But yeah, it's like, I thought this match was this steel cage nonsense. I thought it was great for what it was. And what it was stupid. But we knew that going in. So I haven't really got any complaints. Like, no, like, yeah, we got all the things we wanted. we got our big powerful man do big powerful, and aging crazy man takes his big crazy bump. Yeah, so I was happy with this. So I wasn't expecting anything. I was like, if it can hit the notes that I felt like it would need to, then it'll be fine, and it did. And it did. Like Wiley Shane trying the pre-match attack via his musical pal Elias and Jackson Riker. But like we're all just sitting there waiting for Shane to jump off the thing. Like, come on, Shane. Come on, you crazy man. Like, jump off the thing, Shane. Please jump off the thing. Also, Choo Choo Braun didn't move his head either. Just normal old Braun. I mean, technically in his entrance. And his entrance looked great at WrestleMania with all of that steam just... I felt like the crowd popped for that as well. Just the sheer amount of steam maybe startling them into... Ooh! Maybe not that camp. But still, I thought it looked great, the amount of steam. As in, it bellowed out and Strowman disappeared. They had to cut to a different camera, wait for the smoke to kind of come down the ramp, and then cut to Strowman from the side. But I thought it looked great. I like when steam does that, where you have your big entrance and you power so much in that the wrestler just disappears. So where's he gone? Where's he gone? Like when they were figuring out the amount of smoke to do for Edge's entrance, and sometimes he'd just disappear for ages. I'm a massive fan of it. But yes, Braun generously giving Shane his hands as McMahon attempted to escape over and over, and that was the gist of it. Braun Strowman was trying to beat him up. Shane at every turn was just trying to escape. Never really changed the message. And yeah, they stuck to it. Nice, simple story. Don't overcomplicate it. This whole storyline's been about being stupid. You can't then try and do a masterpiece thing. This match should never be a masterpiece. This is exactly the kind of match it should have been. A Strowman deciding in the end for an awesome spot as Shane McMahon was trying to escape over and over, and that entire bit was building to the genuinely cool as hell spot as Strowman rips apart the cage to pull Shane McMahon back in. I thought that was a great spot. Strowman then, instead of just beating him up normally in the middle of the ring, was like, this is a WrestleMania. This is a steel cage match. Let's let Shane McMahon jump off the thing. So Strowman decides to launch Shane off the top of the cage into the ring. And oof, that is an oof bump to take. Doing a front flip off the top of the cage. Kudos to Shane. Yeah, you crazy. Props to him. Crazy man. Crazy man. To take a bump like that. I think he's 51 as well. To take that bump at 51? I'm not doing that now. I'm in my 20s. I'm not doing that now. Like, oh dear. But before going to the ending, Braun had his feel-good message for the stupid before power... That's not at all... I've completely skipped over the point of his message there. Before power slamming for the win. It just reminded me of 30 Rock when he was doing it. Like, if anyone has ever been called stupid and all of that, there's a bit in 30 Rock where it's the idiots protest, where idiots are protesting. What are you protesting for? Don't know. When do you want it? We want it now. It's just... I completely missed the point to me just because obviously I know what the point actually is. But the entire time just reminded of that bit from 30 Rock. But yeah, this match was decent for what it was, but what it was stupid. We knew that going in. We got all the stuff we needed. So why would I ever complain about this match? It's exactly what I thought it was going to be. It hit all of those notes that I thought it would need to be decent. yeah, good on them. Good on them. And finally, thing I can be happy about, Bayley at least featured on the show. I just wanted to bring that up. She was interacting with the Hall of Famers throughout the night, with a little skit with NWO and Titus backstage, before then doing a little bit of Michael Cole, which really made me laugh, just popping up with the announcers table and taking over to introduce the 2020 Hall of Fame class. And don't forget, there was also a 2021 Hall of Fame class, so you can have Bayley on both nights doing the same thing. She wants a match with Michael Cole. She's gonna get it. Yes, and it's tomorrow going to be crazier. We've got a lot of matches coming up. I can't remember what they are. If I can get to WWE.com really quickly. WWE.com. Yeah. This is me at 6 a.m. going, I should probably go for the card for tomorrow. I've just completely forgotten to do it. So now I'm stalling as I quickly go to WrestleMania. Of course, I'm streaming, so my internet is not at its best right now. It's taken up. Oh dear, Nelly. Oh, it's all the matches. Oh dear, this is an amazing ending. Here we go. I've got the matches, finally. Ah, yes. So, still, it was the in-between ones that I'd forgotten. So, still to come, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn with Logan Paul. Right, such a wrestling purist match of not purist, but wrestling massive fan match of Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and that's the one with Logan Paul in it. It's like, that's an interesting one. Intercontinental Championship, Big E versus Apollo Crews in a Nigerian drum fight. That's just no DQ with a character twang on it. I'm fine with that. That's going to be fun. Hopefully not silly, but yeah, fun. United States Championship, Riddle versus Sheamus. Riddle getting his big WrestleMania moment. Sheamus as well after an amazing year. He might even win, Sheamus, just because of as a thank you for how solid a year he's had. It could be one of those where he loses it the next night or next pay-per-view, but he gets his WrestleMania kind of moment. It feels like it could be one of those. Asuka Ripley could steal the show. I mean, the main event looks so solid. Dunno. It's a really strong card here as well. Also, what the hell's the Fiend Randy Orton going to be? If you're talking about crazy and what's going to happen at the show, like, what is the Fiend going to be? What's that? What's the Fiend going to be? Like, it's not a cinematic match, as far as I can tell. What's going to... Obviously, maybe they want their big Fiend entrance to WrestleMania, but this Fiend doesn't do the dramatics of the previous one. He's the body of the Fiend without any of the soul. It's just, yeah. Oh, that's going to be interesting. I do like, personally, it's pure 80s horror sequel nonsense in the Fiend as he currently is. So that's interesting. Pretty interesting. Yeah. It's an interesting one. I'm trying to think, is there any more comment on it? It's just interesting. It's just interesting. Yes. But yeah, then the main event of Daniel Bryan, not Randy Orton, I'm going back to WrestleMania 30. Daniel Bryan, Edge, and champion Roman Reigns. That's just got a main event show stealer written all over it. And tonight was solid. Like, tonight's main event was incredibly solid. And I feel like that's just the perfect way to immediately sign off and go our merry way and our merry sleep all the way to WrestleMania tomorrow. We'll do it all again. Oh, I forgot to mention WWE 2K. Thank you, Slight Cancel. Yes. So in the chat, this is like, oh yeah, this point came as well. Oh, it did. Just signing off. Yeah, they had the reveal for WWE 2K 2022. Or WWE 2K22, Jesus. Obviously coming soon because that'll be coming out in time for Christmas. Normally it's October kind of time it comes out. It's one they've got to hit home with. Because it was an up and down series. 2019 was applauded as being like one of the better ones. But it still had a lot of, like, this is still a building block kind of thing. As in, he should still be hitting higher than this. But this is the best one he put out so far, 2K. But 20 was so bad. And again, talking to people who've bought it, it was just the same game as 19. It just with the updated people and the rosters, and it just didn't run. Oh yeah, it was incredibly buggy, and then there's no point buying it. It's a worse version of 19 with the updated roster. Why would you get that? It was so bad. 2K21 was gotten rid of, and they seemed to port over a mobile game in Battlegrounds and kind of make that try to console it up a bit, but it felt very mobile-like. Again, watch wrestling shorts streams. I know you can't because Twitch deletes them. They were painful. I'll just say that. But yeah, the 2K22, they've got to hit home with this one. They can't muck it up. And I don't know if just making 19 again with the updated roster, as in you just make a solid game without an incredible amount of bugs and people will be fine with it. It's the first one on PS5 as well. Trailer-wise, the graphics looked very similar, but like Rey Mysterio's always looked relatively strong. It's because the engine that they use for these games, it was created for the NBA games. And you can tell, because hair looks rubbish. Hair looks really bad. Look at Charlotte Flair, she makes her entrances. It's just like, on each game, like progressively worse. Like her hair in particular looks really bad. But, bold lad, Bobby Lashley looks fantastic. There are some people who look really good in the engine. I mean, given you give them the correct face, look at The Rock, the Edge as well. Edge's hair didn't matter. Who was that man? That man wasn't Edge in the 2K19 and 2K20. Like, who is this man you've called Edge? It's like fake Edge, like with fake Diesel and whatnot. But yeah, so 2K22, I feel like I've got to hit the mark, but hits different, it's fine. Also, when hits different kind of flashes across the screen, if you pause it early enough, it just says, shit. Which really made me laugh. That just made me laugh seeing that. Yeah. I saw people on Twitter calling for Omos versus Shaq just after that performance. Like, oh, I can build to this. That'll be great. Yeah. Yeah, and also then afterwards people went, oh, why not Bad Bunny Shaq as two celebrities who did really well in their matches. Yeah. A really solid WrestleMania. Incredibly solid. Again, it's not like a 5 out of 5 show or anything like that. But it was incredibly solid and enjoyable. And that's really why I don't like doing number scores. Just because, like, I can give it a numbered grade, but I differentiate between numbered grades and how much I enjoyed it. They don't relate to each other, really. Like, I can really enjoy a 2-3 out of 5 show if that's what I'm in the mood for. Or if it's solid at that level and it didn't need to be any higher than that, it's still enjoyable. Like, yeah, I'm fine with that. But I still say, like, incredibly solid show with multiple matches to a point where I don't know which is my favourite. I want to say the Bad Bunny one, but when a celebrity match hits like that, more often than not, on the night it's fantastic. But then, like Ronda Rousey, her match at WrestleMania, her debut, was also fantastic. Like they know how to do celebrity tag team matches. Like, they've proven that. The past two they've done have both been fantastic. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know which is going to be my favourite match. It might be Cesaro versus Rollins, but right now it's Bad Bunny. The celebrity match was my favourite. I enjoyed that the most. I popped during it the most. Was it the most technically sound? No, of course Rollins Cesaro is going to be more technically sound than that. But I enjoyed it the most. I had the most fun with it. Like, yeah. Again, there's variety as well. Like, you've got your crazy WWE nonsense in Strowman versus Shane McMahon. You've got your celebrity, like, look at the celebrity do cool things match. You've got your technical awesomeness in Seth Rollins, Cesaro. You've got your big boys doing big boy wrestling. And, of course, you've got your history-making main event in Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair. And the streak continues for Sasha Banks to kind of wrap it up. So I can go to bed. It's 6 something in the morning. I can hear the birds tweeting. These windows are a bit better than the one that I do normally. So hopefully it's blocked out a bit. But yes, as daylight seeps through, even like, because this is the extension that I've been having built, hence why I've been doing shows where I have been, and I've been doing it with like noise and stuff. But yeah, this extension being built, I've currently got 2 massive things of cardboard against the window to stop the light. So it's a unique circumstance right now. But yes, I am going to get to sleep. It's time for get up and breakfast. It's 6 o'clock. Anyway, I am going to go to bed. So that's the end of that. You can't keep me up. So yes, WrestleMania 37. Night 1, solid. Night 2, we'll wait and see. Maybe it'll be just as solid, but people will be down on the Fiend Randy Orton stuff. I feel like Fiend Randy Orton stuff is... if you like it, then you really like it and you're really in. That's what we found out with the end of year awards votes, because the Fiend was right up there. Like, those who like it really like it. Those who don't really don't get it. And as in really don't understand it. As in they're like, I don't understand why people like this type of stuff. I'm not as in you don't watch this correctly. I'm in the boat of it's. I just think it's hit and miss personally. Like sometimes I like it. Some elements I really like. Others I'm just like, why? Yeah, I'm running into my explanations being gobbledygook because it's time to go to bed. Anyway, thank you for engaging, liking, subscribing, clicking the bell, whatever. I'll be live after WrestleMania Get 4 Nights 2 again tomorrow night, probably at a similar time. Hopefully a bit earlier, because without the rain delay, it wouldn't be quite as late. I'm a bit hopeful, and there's one match less as well. So hopefully it's more like 4 o'clock. It's not quite as egregious. Yeah. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at the Damn Impercat. That's damn as in damn. You can join me on my Twitch streams. I will be twitching tomorrow at 3 p.m. GMT, which I think is 10 a.m. Eastern Time as well. Also, you can follow Wrestling Headlines for all of your latest wrestling news over on Twitter at Wrestle Headlines. That's Wrestle without an E. And Wrestling Headlines on Facebook. Facebook page, incredibly popular. It's on to see that. Did I post a column? I did. I posted a column on NXT TakeOver, which is a week old now, so no need to plug that. Hustle will have posted right now. I've not even looked at the website. I'm sure it's up. The posting right now review of WrestleMania. He'll be back as well for Night 2 as well. And with that, I say see you tomorrow. Who is going to walk out as Universal Champion? What the hell is the Fiend Randy Orton match going to be? What was it going to be? On that exasperation, I end the show. I say thanks to everybody. And with that, I bid you adieu. Adios.